Yes, ma'am. I'm calling from West Virginia, and which was a red state for Donald Trump, and they have a place called down here Public Debt, and a lot of my neighbors would vote for Trump. They walking around scared, crying, nervous, and they were forever Trumpers. But on a personal note, I'm a diabetic and I'm on Medicare, and when Joe Biden was in there, my insulin was $6 for a 28-day supply. I just went to CVS to get my new supply. It went back up to $80, they said, because the American Recovery Act was canceled. So it went from $6 to $80. So I don't know if anybody else out there on Medicare.
I'm a registered Republican voter and retired active Army officer. How can you tell me that Doge, with some college whiz kids from a computer terminal in Washington, D.C., without even getting out into the field, after about a week or maybe two, has determined that it's okay to cut veterans' benefits?
I think a couple things. Let me give you an example. Did you know that the VA was in charge of payments for illegals for housing? Basically, the VA.
No, I'd like for you to send me. Could you send me that reference so I could research that? Because no, I'm not aware of that. And I would tell you that that's a red herring, a false flag. If you're throwing that kind of political stuff up, trying to cut veterans' benefits, that's very alarming to me.
All right, I have more clips of constituents being incredibly unhappy with their Republican representatives defending Elon Musk, running defense for Donald Trump as they cut things regarding veterans. They fire people relating to healthcare. I mean, they fired a team that takes care of our nuclear stockpiles and then tried to rehire that team 24 hours later because they realized these are highly specialized people within our government and they couldn't even find the phone numbers for those people. I'm not even joking. The incompetence oozing out of this current Trump administration is actually making it to Republican voters, and that is why. That is why there are multiple Trump supporters who are mad that, number one, they were laid off, that they know a veteran who was fired or stripped of some sort of benefit. And you know what I find really funny is that when these Republican representatives, in this case it was Stephanie Bice, a representative from Oklahoma, from this clip I just played, they try to pull out these MAGA Trumpian talking points, but it never lands with normal people. So if you guys saw that clip the other day of the representative in the town hall who tries to bring up Joe Biden randomly and the crowd begins to boo him. We don't care about Joe Biden. It's you guys now. And then he pivots and says, you know who else booed or whatever? It was the January 6thers. And they start booing even harder. It's like, dude, you're not in some Twitter argument on Elon Musk's platform. These are your constituents. These are people who voted for you because they want you to help their everyday lives. So that's what happens when the MAGA movement gets captured. And they're overstepping way too quickly and thinking that Twitter is real life. They think that Elon's crazy algorithm is what they need to take and manifest into real life when it's not. It's not what people voted for. So let's watch this clip. Drop a like, subscribe, and let's check this one out.
I was a Trump supporter. You know, when he talks about government waste and all that, yes, I'm behind it. I believe there is a lot of stuff in the government that needs fixing. And that's part of the reason why I actually wanted to work for the government, actually, to help change the things that are wrong in the world, you know. And I thought that someone with like his business acumen would have come in with a fine-tooth comb and actually found it, instead of coming in with a wrecking ball and destroying people's lives for no reason.
Now, I have another clip, but that's really the core of the criticism. What that dude was saying there is really the core of what we're criticizing here. And there's a few other things, but people think that liberals don't want the government to be more efficient. I always say in every single video, we want the government to be as efficient as possible. We don't want there to be fraud, waste, or abuse, but we want you to go in there. We want you to have a fine-tooth comb and just figure out what the problems are. Take them through the proper channels of reporting fraud, waste, and abuse, because there are proper channels. We live in a democracy. You can't just be fraudulent and have no consequences and report these people. But Elon Musk and his Doge team, they are doing purely performative acts, selectively releasing data to draw up a narrative and blowing numbers way out of proportion. They released a memo the other day saying they made $8 billion in cuts today, and we figured out it was actually only $8 million. They missed it. They did the math wrong. They added an extra zero while doing the math, and they thought it was 8 billion, but it was 8 million. These people are being sloppy. Again, they're oozing incompetence, and that is the real criticism. Also, a valid criticism would be that they are going outside of the executive branch and outside of Congress. Congress has the power of the purse, but Donald Trump has pointed this outside unelected bureaucrat who's now going in and unilaterally just tearing stuff up. It doesn't make any sense. There's valid criticisms you can have, and you just have to point out that we do want efficiency. We want the same thing as these people. I mean, this first constituent, this first Republican dude that called his representative and was saying, hey, I'm a registered voter, how can you let these kids do this? I'm sure he'd be fine with government efficiency. He just doesn't want veterans' benefits to be cut. Elon Musk is going in there with an effing sledgehammer. But let's watch this one.
No funny intro, no fancy words, just one factual statement. We do not now, nor will we ever, have kings in America. Not next Tuesday, not next November, not on the 31st of February, never. Now look, I hear you. History is kind of hard for the cosplatriots that make up the Coppertone Cowards cadre of cronies, but that is kind of how we formed our country. If you feel otherwise, well, opposite a friend, off is the direction in which I wish you would fuck. If you feel the need to defend Dementia Don on his aspirations, do me a favor. Take that argument, turn that sumbitch sideways, shine it up real nice, and stick it straight up your ass. Here, let me break it down just a little bit more crystal clear so you can't say you're confused. If you support Donald Trump, if you support Elon Musk, if you support the Republican Party at this point, you are not a patriot. You are an enemy of America.
I just thought that one was funny, but here's the thing. Here's one of the key points that I want to hammer home during my future debates, and I think that we need to talk about more because it's very important. Throughout all of this, throughout voters realizing that Elon Musk is kind of screwing them over, why is Elon Musk firing people, firing me, firing my friends, how come my veteran friends are getting screwed over? Throughout all of this, Donald Trump is showing a complete lack of leadership, an offensive lack of leadership. It also reminds me of that DC plane crash a few weeks back when he took the stage and he started blaming it on DEI. The lack of leadership that Donald Trump shows is so in your face, it's like right here. So check out this clip of Donald Trump being asked about the firings, and you couldn't even script out a worse response on his behalf. Just listen.
Members of Congress in red districts are facing pushback from voters in town halls. We know that Americans voted for you on the immigration and the economy, but these voters say they're angry and frustrated by these firings. They don't like the work of Elon Musk and these other actions. What do you say to them?
Who do you work for?
I work for ABC News, sir.
Who?
ABC News.
No wonder. Let me just tell you that I have today the highest poll numbers I've ever had.
He's just like a narcissistic egomaniac. You can't deny it. This dude is asked about real concerns of representatives, but he's not really held accountable like these representatives are. He can't be held accountable. He's got one more term, hopefully, knock on wood, damn. One more term and he's out. These representatives are up for re-election pretty often. They have to continue to answer to their voters. He's insulated in his little White House Mar-a-Lago bubble, but I'll leave it at that. Drop a like, subscribe, have a great rest of your day, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace out.